We just got confirmation at Pokemon Worlds that 3 different Mega Pokemon at a minimum are going to be coming to Pokemon Pocket this fall, presumably in the set at the end of the month. Let's go ahead and dig on into what these first designs could mean for the game. The first question on the mind for many trainers is, what's a Mega EX? A Mega EX awards your opponent not one, not two, but 3 knockout points when it goes down, which means in a game of Pokemon Pocket, if you give up a Mega EX as your first KO to your opponent, they win the game on the spot. However, as we know from games where you knock out a regular EX into a regular EX, there's not a bonus for your opponent or a penalty for you if your opponent claims more than 3 points in a single game, meaning that if your opponent gets 2 points already and then you put a Mega EX up, they're going to technically end the game with 5 if they knock it out, but they don't win anything extra for doing so. This means with these new cards that are coming to the game, prize mapping, or the concept of which Pokemon knockout points you're giving in which order, are going to be more important than ever. We have Mega Altaria EX here as our first one officially spoiled. 190 HP stage 1, retreats for 1 colorless energy, and Mega Harmony here does 40 damage plus 30 more for each of your benched Pokemon. This means, in theory, if you have your bench completely full, you're going to get to do 130 points of damage for just 2 energy. This is a pretty efficient and clean breakpoint, especially when you take into consideration that with the Giovanni, you're going to get this up to 140 with a full bench, or a copy of Red gets you up to 150. This clears a lot of really common metagame threats, things from Darkrai and Espeon and Sylveon in a single go on a 2 energy attack on a stage 1 Pokemon. That being said, this type of aggressive 2 energy attacker really encourages you to want to start the game with it, which, like we just talked about, will likely be a liability. Obviously, if you can get this down early and win the game effectively outright with it, having that first energy advantage, perhaps it could allow you to really run away with the game and not worry about its downside. But if things don't go according to plan and some damage gets marked on this character, it getting drugged back up by a copy of Cyrus that the opponent could have, and then winning the game on the spot when they clear out this 190 HP is definitely a big deal. All of that being said, 190 HP on a stage 1 is a lot. So this character's stats are definitely making up for the fact a little bit that it gives up 3 knockout points when your opponent clears it out. Our next Mega is a Gyarados EX, 210 HP, that for 4 energy does 140 points of damage while discarding the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Decks in Pokemon Pocket are quite small, and if you're able to get to this attack ahead of time, it notably has a colorless energy in it, so you could use one of those baby Pokemon that we've seen in the past to get extra energy to attack sooner. There's also things like Manaphy that can get you water energy ahead of time. You get this up, not only could you take out an early knockout with 140 points of damage, but discarding the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck could very easily hit something that's crucial to their game plan that they may only have one or even both copies of if you high roll with it a little bit. All of that being said, one of the interesting dynamics of this particular card is that it's evolving from regular Magikarp, just like EX Gyarados in the existing game does. This means, in theory, you could be setting up this kind of 1-2 EX Gyarados, Mega EX Gyarados punch, where that prize mapping, like we talked about earlier, where you force your opponent to take a 2 knockout point Gyarados, and then you move into this bigger one after the fact, could potentially do reasonable. Also, it is worth calling out that, again, this is only 140 damage on a bigger finisher at the end of the game. So while this amount is good early, putting these Mega EXs up early has that liability, because if they take a knockout on this, they're going to win the game on the spot. Our third Mega Pokemon confirmed with the Pokemon World Championships is Mega Blazakin EX, a stage 2 with 210 HP, whose 2 energy Mega Burning does 120 damage, discards a fire energy from itself, and also burns your opponent's active Pokemon. Those that don't recall, burning means your opponent takes 20 damage when you pass the turn, meaning this effectively hits for 140 against anything that's not like Arceus that prevents special effects, and your opponent flips a coin, and if they lose that flip, it potentially burns for 20 more if they don't retreat it out after the fact. This card takes only 2 energy to deal this attack, so similar to the Altaria that we looked at earlier, and this starts hitting early with this amount of damage. You're going to clean out a lot of starting EX Pokemon that are in the game right now in a really efficient single blow. You can rare candy up into this one going second and crack for 140 right away. It's going to be a really, my initial impression looking at all of these Mega EX designs that we have in these first 3 is that from a prize map perspective, it really feels like we're going to be incentivized to want to end the game on a Mega EX as opposed to starting on one. So that way our opponent has to take the most amount of knockout points possible, meaning I'm going to want to be thinking about building decks that are single knockout point, and then finishing on a Mega, or EX Pokemon into finishing on an EX, effectively making our opponent take 5 points over the course of the game to win. This could add new value to baby Pokemon, where you give up your first knockout point on something like a Magby and then move into this Mega Blazakin, or you go Magby into something else and then have this set up after whatever your other attacker was. All of that being said, while the prize mapping encourages you to want to end on these, all 3 of these first ones that we've seen have really aggressively templated attacks. These are things where, like, okay, I hit my second energy and I want to be hitting with this Mega Blaziken, or I want to be hitting with this Mega Altaria right away. So it's going to be interesting to see what does that balance end up being in deck building and how we execute during the actual games of when are we hitting the Mega right away and putting our foot on the gas, and when are we trying to sequencing in a way that's a little bit more slow and deliberate to finish on these. The question of Mega Gyarados also brings to mind, hey, are we going to get a regular EX version of Blaziken or a baby version of Blaziken? And same for Altaria. Will we only have these Megas to move into for these Pokemon, or will we have some flexibility? There could perhaps be a world where you're playing a baby Altaria that's serviceable, and it's one of the 1 knockout point Pokemon you play to start, and then you finish on a Mega Altaria, since they'll both be able to evolve from the same Swablu. Same thing with the Fire Chicken here, being able to start on a 1-pointer and then maybe even a Magby to get things charged up, and then eventually finish on a Mega Blaziken seems potentially very appealing as well. The devil will definitely be in the details of everything else that's going to be supporting these cards around it, but at a minimum, I'm going to be interested to see if these cards end up ratcheting up the power creep in Pocket or not. My initial gut reaction to this is the breakpoints on these look really powerful into all of the 140, 150 HP things that are really common in our current metagame, but this dynamic of Mega Pokemon losing you the game on the spot when they get knocked out is a little bit of a push and a pull when you want to get aggressive with these cards to start to begin with. I would love to hear what you think of the concept of Mega Pokemon and then coming to Pocket in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed my breakdown today on this new news of cards that'll likely be coming soon, be sure to smash the like button on today's video. If you happen to be new here and enjoy the analytically focused content around Pokemon Pocket related stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss fantastic deck highlights, other breakdowns of the new expansion that will likely be coming before the end of the month. I appreciate everybody that made it all the way through to the end of the video today, and I hope your next pack is an excellent one.